So I get this question a lot. I get asked, how do I keep going when I feel like I'm done? What do you do when you have that day job? You're working that 9 to 5, or maybe you're not lucky enough to have just 9 to 5 as your day. And you have family, you have other obligations, and you also want to do that side hustle as a content creator. Tonight is the episode where we're going to talk about that. And then I'm going to point you to the person who knows what we're talking about. Tonight, I am so glad to welcome Walter Strong to the show. How are you tonight, sir?
Hey, good evening, good evening, everyone. So great to be on the Tech Troublemaker YouTube channel once again. It's been a minute, but we're glad to be in the house. I can say, Mama, I made it again.
Yeah. So, Walter, you have built the Huddle specifically for working class creators, where you kind of talk about that struggle, where you talk about how to get things done on your channel. So you're trying to help people try to save time so they can keep focused on that 9 to 5, and they can focus on family, but at the same time still be a content creator and refine that process and keep working on that. So I totally get that, and I can relate to that because I'm a 9 to 5er. Granted, we just talked about the fact that my job didn't stop at 5 today, but how do how did you get where you are, and what made you realize that creators needed a community just for those 9 to 5 content creators, those people that are day jobs and they are also doing content creation?
That's a great question, and I appreciate the opportunity just to kind of share the rebranding of the Huddle. As you know, I mean, I've been on the Huddle now for a little over a good 5 to 7 years, and when I originally started out the gate, it was a YouTube channel just sharing about YouTube content and helping each one another grow on YouTube, sharing the best tips and practices. And over a period of time, if we look at YouTube, began to be oversaturated with everyone doing the same thing. And it seems like we were all kind of on the same hamster wheel. Some content creators were making progress, where others like myself, we were making slow progress. I'm not going to say I wasn't making progress, because I was making some progress, but not at the level or my expectation that I thought. And then when I hit that burnout period of my content creation journey, or what I call the YouTube crash, I had to step away from the Huddle for at least, my goal was a year, but I did not expect to step away for 2 years. And I had to kind of look at what went wrong. Where did I go off the path? And when I began to realize that, I'm a content creator just like everyone else that has a 9 to 5 job. I have a family. I have church. I'm a volunteer and helping out. And I began to understand that the struggles and the issues that I were going through are just everyday real life that we go through as content creators. And so once you kind of go through an experience and you get that refocusing, I made the commitment to say, okay, when I come back and relaunch the Huddle, we're going to focus on working class content creators, individuals who want to make content, but at the end of the day, they're just too tired and exhausted to try to stay consistent with the upload. They want to record a video or a live stream, such as yourself tonight, but by the time you're done it, you're exhausted, or you're trying to edit content and you just can't do it fast enough, and you just like you're up to 2 in the morning. And so I just begin to turn my focus on working class content creators, and to provide, strategies on us being able to grow on YouTube, make money, and move forward in our everyday life.
Yeah. So you work with creators who have a full-time job and the YouTube channel. What's that number one system? What's that number one system that you kind of put together to help them stop from skipping, from not being consistent? Do you have a system that you kind of teach them, or what do you teach creators to help them focus on what they need to do to balance both life and content creation?
It's about getting back to the fundamentals of YouTube. And what I mean by that is when you have those moments where you have time available to put content together, instead of trying to put one video together, you know, block out time where you can start batching out videos. And so if you're a person who wants to upload videos, have that block time where, okay, this is on Monday, I'm going to work on, my content ideas, my titles, my thumbnails. Tuesday, I'm going to work on the video script. Wednesday, I'm going to work on, recording the videos, not just one video. So you're kind of blocking out the time, you're batching everything. Thursday or Friday, you're working on your editing, so by the time you come to Friday or Saturday, you have enough of videos to post, and you don't feel like you're on the hamster wheel, and you can just kind of schedule your content out. If you're doing live streaming like me and you, really being intentional in our live streams, and going live, and then going 30 to 45 minutes in a live stream, and then ending the stream and thinking, okay, I'm moving on to the next. No, a live stream is like, the best example I want to give it is, a rotisserie chicken. You get this big piece of rotisserie chicken. You can then eat some of it, turn it into sandwiches, turn it into chicken soup. You're going to start repurposing that content, rather into long form videos, vertical content. You're going to turn the audio into a podcast. You're stretching out your content so that way you have more content to process and publish over the next couple of weeks, and that's going to save you from feeling like, man, I'm just too tired to be consistent. That's going to save you from feeling like you're burnt out, and that's going to help you, most importantly, with your editing, especially if you're using tools like Nexus or Opus Clips.
This is probably going to be a controversial take, I'm sure, but what is one piece of YouTube advice that you think really causes burnout rather than helping things? Is there a piece of advice that the YouTube gurus all seem to give out, and you find out, I think that makes things much worse? Is there something that you think of like that?
Yeah, I'll pick one. And that's the debate. Does shorts hurt my channel? Does shorts hurt my long form content? And if we're not careful, we can. And I've allowed myself to fall into that argument and be a part of that wind tunnel of noise that shorts hurts your long form content. And what I've come to learn over the years, number one, shorts or reels, wherever you're posting, IG or YouTube, but for the purpose of this discussion, YouTube, shorts are basically your teaser or movie trailer to your YouTube channel and the other content. If the shorts are in line with your long form content, then it's in line with the goal of your channel. But most importantly, you are developing a new type of audience for your channel. And where the burnout comes in is when you're trying to force that audience to end up watching long form content. And as a result, the frustration kicks in because you don't see them going over no matter how much you try. And over a period of time, you burn yourself out mentally and emotionally trying to do that. Whereas respecting the fact that this is the audience for your shorts, you have an audience for your long form, you have an audience for your live streams, and growing them respectfully. But what we hear is the argument of, should you do shorts? Should you create another channel just for clips and shorts and have a long form? And now you're trying to juggle all these things, and as a result, you're burning yourself out.
I would argue trying to do Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook all at the same time also is going to burn you out. But I guess it all depends on what kind of strategy you can put together. So, your community, the Huddle, it seems to be a big part of the antidote for content creators who are juggling exactly what we've been talking about, what you specialize in. How does connection fight creator burnout?
Repeat that question for me. How does
How does connection, connecting with your community, how does connecting with
oh,
your community help prevent burnout?
great question. I find the way connecting with not just other creators, but your audience in the comment section. It allows you to get feedback rather from your audience through the messages they leave in the chat or in the comment section, or other creators where you are collaborating together, rather through live streams, through videos, or just taking the time. Over the years, we've picked up the phone and say, hey, Roy, you have a moment, let me give you a call. When you develop that type of relationship where we're exchanging numbers with one another, um,
Yeah.
that can help with fighting against burnout. And I've always tried my best to be the type of supporter to another creator. I've tried my best. I've not always succeeded, but to try to be the type of supporter to a creator that, if I'll use the sports analogy, you are the visiting team. The entire stadium is booing you and cheering on the opponent, which is the other channels that who are getting views, who has similar niches. I'm trying to be that supporter in the stands with the sign, and I may be the only one in the arena or stadium that's cheering for you, but I'm there.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, and definitely everybody should build a support system. I mean, really, really, I want very much creators helping other creators. That's why, I love the fact that you and I and other creators, we've swapped phone numbers, and we'll talk to each other in Facebook chat, or we'll call each other, send text messages, encouragement, that type of thing. So I really do think creators need to reach out to others and make friends and just get support and encouragement for others. So that's really good. And in a community like yours is a big plus for a situation like that. So that's fantastic. Let me ask you this crazy question. So if you had somebody come to you right now, a content creator come to you right now and says, man, I haven't posted in months. I feel guilty about it. I don't know what to do. What's the first thing you would tell them?
The first thing I would tell them would be a question: what happened? What caused you to stop? And then once they are able to acknowledge what caused them to stop, where are you at now in terms of wanting to go back to that channel? And if there is a path to go back to that channel, then the conversation is going to progress to, okay, let's reevaluate the goals of your channel. Let's reevaluate in terms of the strategy you were using before and what we may need to collaborate together, working together, and pivoting with that strategy. Because the YouTube that me and 3 years ago, 5 years ago, it's not the same YouTube today. I'll give you an example. I was on another channel trying to build it up, because at the time I wasn't ready to come back to the Huddle. And I've always wanted to let someone like a Think Media's or Nick Nimmons do a channel review on my channel, but I never really had the courage to let them do it. And one Saturday morning, I had the courage to let Nick Nimmin review a channel that I was trying to build, that was trying to encourage men on the importance about being great husbands, devoted fathers, and men of integrity. What's the first thing he said to me? He said two things. He said, number one, he says, I see that in your shirts, particularly you have a YouTube shirt on. D said, your thumbnail needs to be concise and very to the point, and you don't want to draw attention away from the thumbnail where they see things on your shirt like YouTube, especially when the channel is supposed to be encouraging men. The second thing Nick and Deke said was your branding. You have Real Men Rising on all your thumbnails, but your thumbnails is talking about a different topic. He said, I understand why you're doing it, because content creators were doing that about 3 to 5 years ago. It's not something that people do today. And so we have to kind of look at, if we're working with someone, if I'm working with someone and they're kind of creating thumbnails or using their channel in the old YouTube way, to kind of help, you know, identify those things as a part of helping them get back in the right path.
Yeah, good stuff. We've got some amazing people out in the chat, and I want to say hi to them. So, Mommy Guy says hi, Stuart. She says good morning from the Philippines. Hi, Roy and Walter. Laura
Hey, Mommy
CZ Fitness
Guy.
in the house. Hello. Stuart, hello. Stuart saying hi to Mommy God, and Mommy God saying hi to Laura, and Laura saying hi to Mommy God. And 24-hour boss Brian is saying, greetings everyone. Tech Truck Maker Walter salutes. Spider-Man,
Right.
hey Spider-Man, how you doing? Spider-Man 456, what's up, man? What's
Wait a
up
minute.
with you?
The Spider-Man? Marvel
I don't
Spider-Man?
know. He could be. It could be. There's a lot of different Spider-Man in the multiverse, though. So
This is true.
Laura's saying hi to 24-hour boss and me and you and Laura. Everybody just saying hi. I really love that. I like this is kind of stuff. Let's see. First of all, 24-hour boss says burnout is a real issue for creators, and it really is. To that end, I mean, how, besides just interacting with community, besides finding a peer to benchmark against, what are some other things people can do to try to avoid burnout?
I think one of the, well, I'm going to speak for me. I'm not going to cast that net of with the expectation that others fall into this trap. The burnout of perfection, trying to be perfect in the process of your content creation. Rather, if that strive of perfection is in the videos that let's say you do uploaded videos, and the regular way people tell me how people upload and record videos is they do it in takes. They do the intro, they do the 2 to 3 bullet point, they do their summary, if they want to put a summary or a call to action, and then the close. And then you put it all together, and then you start your editing process. Well, unfortunately, your boy here doesn't do it that way. And I think that's part of the reason why I'm not as consistent in the uploading video department that I am in live streaming. I try to turn the camera on, and I will just go from the time I hit record to the time I hit end, and I may do anywhere from 5 to 6 to 7 takes. And I'll try to get the video from beginning to end with minimum mistakes. And over a period of time, I've learned that can be very draining and exhausting. And so I have to retrain myself in how to record videos and doing it the proper way. So that's from a perfection standpoint. My mind, like, oh, I said this instead of saying that. Oh, I'm turned this way versus turned that way. That's a perfection mindset, and perfection can burn you out. We all know none of us is perfect. And if you are perfect, okay, we'll see Roy after the show, and maybe he can put you on and you can explain how you've achieved perfection. Okay, a plug for you. But we can all strive for progress in our content creation. People say, well, practice makes perfect. No, it doesn't. Practice enhances progress. Progress brings you closer to performance.
You need that on a t-shirt there, Walter. That's a good slogan. I like that. So, right. Mommy Guide says batch production truly helps, but the truly one thing that kept me from starting consistent content was not knowing what to put out. That's good. 24-hour boss says that's a great strategy, Walter. And then it says it has to be perfect. It has to be perfect was truly one that kept me from just starting. Walter's advice so true. If you can block out just a day and a few hours for block production, it truly helps. So, good stuff there. Brian says that he totally agrees. Great points. Mm-hmm. Connecting them with the community is a creator lifeline. Collaborations are encouraging as well. Yep, yes they are. Real Florence in the house. Hey, 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 Florence. Look at
Hey,
that
Florence.
Look at that. Love that progress, not perfection. I like that progress, not perfection. That
Perfection.
is good stuff, sir. Good stuff. So, you know, here's. Whoop, let me. There we go. So, let me ask this. I think a lot of creators struggle with identity. You know, probably ask themselves, who are you when the camera's off? Do creators sometimes accidentally become their channel?
I'll speak for me. I'll speak for me. When I burnt out and hit the YouTube crash, I didn't realize how much of the brand identity that I felt was a part of me, because I kept beating myself up saying, you got merch out. Though you've never sold a T-shirt, you got merch out that you always talked about wanting to sell to people. You got huddles and stuff, and now you're letting the huddle go. You're working and you're coaching people, and you're sharing to it. And when I say coaching, encouraging, I'm not the sense of which on the think media level, but just being a voice of encouragement. And when I hit the YouTube crash, again, I'm referring to burnout, but calling it the YouTube crash. Think of a computer that just completely crashes and you get the blue screen and this computer is done. When I hit that, I had to go through a process to say, hey, look, despite how this YouTube channel has gone in the last year or so, you are not the YouTube channel. You are not a failure. And it took me some time to realize, and I'll try to stick within your runner show. When I went to sit down to speak with a mental therapist, a mental counselor, about some other issues, one of the topics came up about how I handle failure and how has failure impacted me. And I began to go back to my school years, and how I end up falling behind, not one grade over a period of time, not two grades, but almost three grades. And so by the time I dropped out of the ninth grade, I should have been in the 12th grade. I eventually went back and got my GED, of course, because moms wasn't having me sitting at the house watching Days of Our Lives or General Hospital. She wasn't having that. So I went and got my GED. But my point is, I always kept thinking about those times when I failed in school, and I kept seeing that in YouTube, the lack of views, the lack of performance of growth on the channel. I was seeing it from that lens. And when the therapist began to say to me, you're so focused on the mistakes, you're not focused on the progress, how you went back. You're not focusing on the progress and how you went and got your college degree. You may have had those bumps in the road, but failure is not who you are. Failure was just a part of the process in you learning how to become a better person. And though, yes, academics and education should have been a great learning experience for you, it wasn't. It was a pain point, but don't let that past repeat itself in your present. And once I began to really take hold of that advice, I began to find the desire to want to come back to the huddle and create content and be focused, particular on, just like there are YouTube channels that just focus primarily on full-time content creators. People say, I want to go full-time. I want to leave my 9 to 5. I want to, be my own. Hey, more power to you. My issue with that is, real brief, is where who's going to take care of the medical benefits? Who's going to take care of the dental benefits? Who's going to put money towards the 401k or pension? If your wife goes out on disability because she was covering the medical benefits and she out now for 2 years, who's paying the benefits in the house? And that's sort of always been my pushback to full-time content creation. But when I
Yeah.
came back, I said, we as working class content creators, we can identify with one another. So that's the focus we're going on.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff, sir. Let's see. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, don't forget to hit that like button. I really appreciate it. Thanks, 24 Hour
Sir.
Boss. Let's do that, friends. Yeah, thank you so much for those that have hit the like button. I really do appreciate it. So, I mean, that that's been one of my struggles as well. Hang on, not that I. That's been one of my struggles as well. Is perfectionism. I want everything to go so perfect. I mean, how do you give yourself grace through that? I mean, how have you taught yourself to give yourself grace so that you don't let perfectionism destroy your progress? Because it's funny that perfectionism does. If you get so focused, you won't do anything.
Great question. So here I'm going to answer that question with a response and then a question to you. One of the things that when I make a pitch to say inviting someone, Florence is in the audience, so she's been on the Huddle many times. We'll use her as an example, and I want Florence to make a return on the Huddle as a guest. Well, one of the things that I say in my guest invite is, "Hey, look, I want to invite you on to the Huddle. Here's the topic. Here on the Huddle, we've been fortunate to have guests interviewed on here, such as Dan Courier from Creators Fundamental, who has over 100,000 subscribers and a silver play button. We've been fortunate enough, and I'm talking about under 500 subscribers right now. I think we're at 402. But when I was doing this, I think I hadn't even got past 150. And I was fortunate enough to get Benji Travis from Benji Man TV / Video Influence, co-author of YouTube Secrets, as a guest. But guess what? I've had other creators just like yourself. When I turn my focus on those small wins and successes, perfectionism doesn't become an issue anymore. And so my question to you is, what is it that you can point to, Roy, that's been small wins and successes for you?
Probably the biggest is I stopped worrying about the analytics. That was the thing that made me the craziest. I got a new subscriber. I got this many views. This many people watched the, those things build up pride within you. You get prideful, or you get where you beat yourself up. Oh man, only 3 people watched that video. But on the flip side, 3 people watched that video. As I've said before, it's, there is, if somebody is watching your video instead of watching a Braves game or or the Nets or whatever team is your favorite sports team, they are doing you a service. They are watching your video, and even if they don't watch it when you're live, they're watching it later. They're taking time out of their busy day or their busy evening to watch your video, and so I am very thankful for that. And I've decided, that I'm just going to be focused on making the best content I possibly can. If there's an audience for me out there, they will find me, and I will eventually get the variables as close to right as you can. You'll never be perfect, and I don't want to be perfect because I think, perfection is unrealistic. It's kind of, I joke sometimes, it's better to be number 2 at something because number 1 is just so much hard work. So I don't want to be a giant YouTube content creator. I want to be the second best content creator, and so that's just kind of where I look at it.
Okay.
I don't know, for what it's worth. So yeah. Hang on, we got a big comment here in the chat. Let's take a look and see. Mama Guy says, "Yep, I create and post it, or go live, and that's it. I move on to the next. I don't think I'm big enough to really focus on analytics. It would be a truly small size to matter for me right now." So, yeah. And then she also says, "Just gaining the content creation muscle and the discipline I learned is more important." And that's definitely a true statement. So definitely. That's good stuff, Lala. I definitely appreciate those comments there. So,
and she would probably tell me and you, based on with each live stream that she does, the audience that she has, she's never always had that audience in size and numbers of count. I'm quite sure there those periods of times where there was only 1, 5, or 10, but she was consistent as if she was live streaming, sharing her passion, sharing her desire of wanting to help improve the quality of someone's life through either education or inspiring. and now to where her channel is today, just through her consistency.
So let me. I've run through this, and I'm a recovering perfectionist. How do you create? How do you create without feeling like every free moment belongs to YouTube? How do you overcome that? Because that there was a I was so obsessed. My
Hmm.
wife had to tell me you've got to stop, and so I had to slow down on YouTube because I had become obsessed. So how do you deal with that?
How do I do it now? Deal with it since hitting the YouTube wall and crash?
Yeah, I mean, how do
Because
you keep from
without
every?
without,
Yeah,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was gonna say that feeling like every free moment you got to dedicate to YouTube content creation. How do you break that cycle?
You have to come to the realization that you first of all acknowledging that you're doing it, and in most cases we don't. We need an intervention, a spouse that loves us and that puts up with all our content creation in our studio and our lights, a son or a daughter that really wants to spend time with us. They want to have a conversation with us, but our focus is so much on trying to have a conversation with someone in the chat or the comment section. We want someone that gives us a thumbs up, but they're the one. Our family members are truly the one who wants to give us a thumbs up. Um, so some type of intervention or adversity has to happen in in some cases those situations if we're not willing to acknowledge that we're going down that path.
Yeah.
Once you kind of gone through that path and you realize that, hey, look, I don't want to go back through this, you got to put things in place so that you don't repeat that process. For me, it's my faith and my relationship with God, because no, I'm not building a golden calf or an idol outside of my home. But if I'm not careful, I can allow my YouTube studio, my camera, and my microphone to become my idol. And once God began to remind me of that and say, hey, look, I gave you this gift. I gave you the ability to communicate and share it passionate. And, my pastor just recently said to me as a reminder, you know, yeah, you may not have the title of a pastor, but you have a pastor's heart, because from time to time I see your videos and you share a pastor's heart and how you're trying to improve the quality of people's lives through videos. And so when someone sees that, that helps to motivate you not to go back to that. And then lastly, your family. Once your family starts checking you enough, or a person that you've connected with, like we have a mutual friend in the chat, from Lala, to mom, I call her Lala, our mommy guide, or Florence. From time to time, they'll check you and say, hey, look, you got to slow down. You got to stop this perfectionism stuff.
All right, let's see. Mommy Guy's got some good stuff here. She says there were times I had 0 viewers. Been there, been there, been there. Sometimes still
Mm-hmm.
there. It feels like.
Yes, let's be real.
And I feel like and I feel like we all went through that and go to all right, and you there's still, but it's okay. Our videos are there, and others will get to it, find it in time. Hang on, it says where there's value in it, it will be found somehow. Patience, yeah. And
Exactly.
then she says, "Oh, that's
Exactly.
golden. Family and friends support. They're the fuel that truly gets us going in the beginning, and helps us get over the bumps along the way." So that's definitely true statements there. I definitely appreciate that, Lala. Um, you know, what do you think? What's a definition of success for you now on YouTube?
The definition of success is, for me, is when I get the feedback from another person starting out on YouTube. This is just one of them. And they've been watching me for a very long time. And we're not calling any names tonight. But when that process repeats itself and the person says, I've been on the fence about creating content, but I've been watching a lot of your content, and you've got me to the point now where I have literally pressed record with the video, and now I'm in the process of working on getting it edited. That's a small success. Another small success is when a person says to me in the chat or through the DM, or they reach out to me and they say, I did my first live stream. But, I worked a 9 to 5. I was, was tired, but I spent some time, and I only did a 10 to 15 minute live stream. Only 2 people were there, but I did it. That's a success.
Yeah.
Notice I'm not pointing to the channel, because one of the things that I'm constantly saying now, with every view, with every comment, and every subscriber that I am fortunate enough to get on the Huddle, that is a sign of a real person with real issues or concerns, and they've said, hey, look, you've provided a real solution, and so here's why you deserve a like, here's why you deserve a thumbs up, here's why you deserve a comment, even if it does just say team replay, here's why you deserve to subscribe, because you see me as a real person. That's success.
So one year from now, what do you hope somebody that's watched this video will remember from this video? What somebody is watching this video tonight, or watching this video on replay, team replay, hashtag team replay.
Hashtag team replay on Tech Troublemaker tonight.
Yep. What is that? What do you want them? What do you think they're going to remember a year from now from this live stream?
That if they have burnt out and hit the YouTube wall of crash, and they have wanted to go back, and if YouTube is whatever format content is being made within a year from now, decide to want to go back and start doing on YouTube. And after hearing this discussion, they've come to understand that YouTube is not them. They are a person that was created in the image of God, and they have a plan and a purpose from God, and YouTube is just a platform that helps them to walk out and use that purpose. And so though they burnt out, and though they felt like they just had to walk away, they now have the courage to come back, and they have a goal and a strategy to do so.
Cool beans. All right. Let's see. 24-Hour Boss says there are some cool people in the community. Agree with Walter. Yep. That is true. Mama Gad says, you're both amazing. Thanks for keeping us inspired and sharing your real life experiences to help us remember the whys for what we do. Whys we do what we do. So that's good stuff. And says, by the way, Roy, may I say how awesome your thumbnail is today? Love it so much. Well, thank you. I had some help, so I some magic, and I'm going to do a video about that magic here soon, so everybody can be in the loop. But then by the time everybody figures out the magic, we'll want to change our thumbnails again. So I was just thinking today, it might be time to change my thumbnail again, but I have a habit of wanting to change things often, so maybe that's not the right approach. But I do change. I sometimes just change for the sake of change. I don't know. So I want everybody to know. Okay. No, go ahead. What were you going to say, sir?
Now, where does that mindset come from? Does that come from the old YouTube? And when I say the old YouTube, that there was a process and a mindset of, I should change my YouTube thumbnail every week or two or a month. And this was kind of before A/B testing really came out, to that we have it now on different platforms, but we have here now on YouTube. But there was a mindset of content creators doing that. Is that the old mindset of YouTube?
No, it's a personality flaw.
Okay.
It's my ADHD kicking in. Okay. So hang on. Whoops, wrong one. I want everybody to go, and I've got a link to Walter's channel in the chat. I mean, not in the chat, but I will put it in the chat. It needs to be there. But also it's in the description for this video. So definitely go and go visit Walter's channel. You will be inspired by his videos. And man, I noticed you're going live quite a bit lately. So I'm trying to keep up. But man, you're out there, and plus you've been doing some shorts and stuff. So definitely you are putting in the work there. So Let's see. So I did just put a link in the chat as well for those that are here now. But if you are Team Replay, it is in the description as well, a link to Walter's channel, the Huddle. So definitely need to go visit his channel. You will get a lot of inspiration and encouragement from Walter's channel. And again, if you are working, you got that day job and you're doing YouTube as a side hustle, you're trying to establish yourself as a business, Walter has some great advice out there. And so definitely you need to go and see Walter's channel. So, hey, thanks. Yeah, let's go look here in the chat here and see. So there it is. That's the channel. You need to go follow it. 24-hour boss says, I just subscribed. Hey, thank you, sir. Thank you for subscribing to this channel.
Thank you. Thank you.
God bless you
looking
both.
Looking forward to add more value.
Yeah. So definitely valuable videos that Walter's doing. I'm watching them, and every once in a while I jump in and aggravate him when he's live, but I'm trying not to aggravate him too bad. So.
No, and see, but you know what? I'm gonna tell your audience a little secret about our relationship. And keep me honest to your time schedule now. I don't want to run over you, run a show, or I probably already did it. Let me know in the chat if I already blew his run a show. But when I first met Roy saw me making videos, and I think I was trying to make a view. You know how everyone kind of copy every other videos to get views. And I think it was on one of those channels about videos on how to get more views or something like that. Roy goes into the comment section. He says, man, I've been looking at some of your videos and you don't have quite a bit of views there, son. He said, how you going to teach me to get more views and you ain't got views yourself? Something to that effect. And I was like, whoa. I'm like, this ain't no troll here. A troll ain't going to put no thought process into that.
Worse than a troll. I'm sorry.
Okay, maybe that was your intent, but Roy was keeping me honest. He was like, "Why are you creating stuff for the sake of creating stuff, and you ain't got the formula or the results to produce it?" And I went to the comments section. I said, "You are right, sir. Thank you for being honest with your feedback and providing." I think I said something to that effect. And over a period of time, Roy kept coming back, and we ended up developing the relationship that we have now. So sometimes yeah, you did. So 24-hour boss, if you need to call me out, Florence will call me, and you out in a minute. Mommy gotta call us out in a minute, dude. So I'm sorry, but just to give y'all a Genesis history on me and Tech's relationship.
Yeah, no, I mean, you've been saying the right things the whole time, man. It's just, you and I both just trying to figure out how to package this stuff and how to get it in a format people want to watch. And so, we've kept at it. We just kept doing it. And I apologize. I didn't mean it as harshly as it sounded at the time.
No, it's too late. I put it out there. Team Replay, everyone on that section, whatever the minutes on that section was, give me a hashtag Team Replay. Roy being real and blunt on the Huddle.
Yeah. Miss Denise says, I get it. When I go on vacation on YouTube, I don't want to go back. I have to make myself. So, and she's got a really, if you don't know, Homemaking with Denise is a fantastic channel. I jump in and watch videos and listen to her tips and kitchen tips and cooking tips and how to save money on groceries and ask her questions about Thanksgiving because that's my favorite holiday when it comes to cooking. But yeah, you get a break, you take a break away from your computer, and then suddenly I don't want to go back, and I did that for a bit. I didn't want to, so it's just been trying my best. So, yeah. Anyway, Walter, I thank you so much for being on the show tonight, man. You are one of my favorite people. I'm just going to tell you that. And I really appreciate your friendship. So, and thank you for being on tonight. I definitely gonna tell you there is so much good advice on Walter's channel and the content he's creating these days that you definitely need to watch it. You can catch him live. That's even more fun. But definitely, let him know, Team Replay, that you watched it after the fact if you didn't catch him when he's going live. So yeah, definitely appreciate it. I want to give everybody a surprise. This is not related to my channel at all. I was going to joke that I'm sponsored tonight. That tonight I have a sponsor. I don't normally have a sponsor, but tonight I have a sponsor. Let's just put this on the screen here. Here we go. There we go. So my wife has started a YouTube channel. I have been aggravating her.
Right.
I have been aggravating her for, if I said years, that would not be incorrect. So I'll throw it in chat. Anyway, she's doing nature videos. We have a bird feeder with a camera, and she's getting such a thrill out of it, and she's uploading those videos and stuff. And then also she's doing nature videos and stuff. So anyway, and then she gets excited every time she gets a subscriber. Hey, I got this many subscribers. So she is feeling what me and you, Walter, were feeling in the early days. We're like, oh, I got a subscriber today. Oh, 6 people watched my video. It's just that feeling of being a brand new content creator, is so. I kind of wish I could reset. And sometimes I say, you know what? I'm just going to start a new channel and start over. And it's so hard to go back completely to that excitement of starting a channel. So I'm really excited for her. But anyway, so I just thought I'd sneak that in there. But
That's
she is one of my biggest supporters. So so she's just amazing, and so I love her so much. And so anyway, I just put that out there. When you have family and your spouse especially to support you when you're on this YouTube journey, especially when you're juggling like Walter and I do. Let's work that day job, and then, okay, I got 10 minutes to think about a video. Let me write down some ideas, and then maybe I'll get some time later tonight after the kids go to bed, and I can think about it a little bit more. Maybe Saturday there'll be a block of time I can go record a video, and just that whole process, Walter. I know you and I go through that. So
sure, we all do.
Just thank everybody for coming by tonight. And
can I just put right quick, Roy,
please,
before you end the stream?
Yeah, what's your final thoughts for everybody?
My final thoughts is not just for what I'm going to say to the individuals in the chat, but to those who may be at a point where you feel frustrated, you're ready to burn out, you're ready to just quit. Give yourself a moment. Put yourself in timeout. Don't buy into the mindset of, if I stop creating content, YouTube is going to put me in prison and punish me or shadow ban me. No, none of that stuff is true. Give yourself a moment so you can recharge. When the car runs out of gas, you're on the side of the road, the car ain't moving. If you're at the point where you need to run out of gas, go get refilled, and don't jump back in the car, start driving. Take a moment, put yourself in timeout. And when you're ready to come back, you come back. My second comment is to those in the chat who have been with the Huddle community for years and the channel stopped over 2 years ago. I need to give you a public apology and I'm not going to say your name if you are in the chat, but I'm giving you a public apology for making you feel like I ghosted you. When I'm trying to help coach, me and Roy are doing Zoom calls and we're coaching one another. We're making all these commitments to one another. And then I ghost and disappear. I deeply, deeply apologize for doing that and not finding the right way to say, I need help. I need to go sit down and talk to a therapist. So please accept my deepest apology from the bottom of my heart for doing that. And if you decide never to come back to the channel, I understand. But thank you, Roy, for giving me the platform to do
that. Walter, I think you don't have to apologize. You needed self-care, and you're letting people know that, hey, sometimes self-care is the answer. And I've been there myself and have said, look, you need to, take a break and that type of thing. So I think you did what you had to do for you, and I'm glad you've come back with so much energy and you're doing so well with your channel now. So I'm excited for everybody that's getting an opportunity to go out there. So I did put Walter's link in the chat. Also, it's on the description channel, the video description. So definitely go visit Walter's channel. You will be inspired. You will learn, and just great encouragement. So Walter, I thank you so much for being on the show tonight. I did put my wife's link in the chat. So if you want to go, everybody want to go visit that, you're welcome to go visit her as well.
Right.
So
That's right.
all right, everybody, thanks so much. And hey, if you would be so kind, hit that like button when you watch this channel. Hit that like button and put a hashtag in the comments, Team Replay. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming out. And that's our show. Bye, everybody. Bye. See ya. Everybody have a great night. Yep. That's right. Like Kathy says, life happens. Don't apologize. Just keep moving forward. So, all right. If you like this kind of stuff, you know what to do. Bye, everybody. Bye. Let's grow your channel and make it thrive.